Okay, the video is running, so let's stop our babble. We don't want the world to hear our babbling.
Is he actually?
And we are
Yeah,
ready.
he is.
Problem number 8. Oh, there's one. Back there.
I just saw today.
And so Kelsey is
He's younger than Cole.
Actually, older than Ryan Willis.
These guys, focus, come on. These are review type questions. We did run into some eye stuff in our current work, but it didn't look exactly like this. But remember, it won't be long. It's hard to believe October's almost over. We're going to be having our exam before we know it. So this will be a little bit of review. So this is a foil. So we're going to foil it out. And then these do not cancel. They make negative 4i. But this, what does that do? Negative 4 combined with the 1 makes negative 3. So that would be the answer to that one. What do we do with root negative 7? Root 7? That's it. And what about I to the 5th? Got it. How many 4s can you take out of 5? Well, you can take out of 4, but you'll have 1 left over. So this is the same as just I to the 1st or I. And that's because, like Eli said, 4 i's make a 1. It's negative 1 times negative 1. So this is just 1, and then I have that left over I, so it's 1. Now we've got some like actual problems. Looks like there's 6 up here. How about this first one? What do you think about that one? Factor? I think factoring is a great option, but what? It doesn't. So what do we do? Remember, this would have to have a minus and a minus. Actually, we don't need to do that yet. Since this is since it's going to get over it, because quadratic formula is how we're going to solve this. Okay, I think sometimes you forget. I'm an old cranky lady, so don't make me even cranky. Focus. All right, Jimmy, what's quadratic formula?
Negative b plus or minus the square root of negative, or b squared minus 4ac.
Yep.
I thought you wanted me to
Over
throw
what,
it
Jimmy?
over
It
2a.
doesn't matter, Jimmy. Either one was fine. You gave me the letters. That's great. I filled in the numbers. Underneath the radical, we have negative 31.
Ow.
9 minus 40, I think. And that is I root 31. So there will be the answer of the problem. All right, what do you think about B? Look at it carefully. What do you think?
Biggest act.
You can take out an x squared. Or GCF. You're not going to be able to do that in letter C, for example, but you can sure do it here. And then what do you notice see anything around over there?
That's mine always.
F minus 11 plus 1. And then remember, the directions say solve. So what does x equal? X equals 0, 11, or negative 1?
So that's what we do with now. Log of is 0. X is 1. All X
That's x minus 0.
Oh.
X minus 1, we have a minus 1 there. All right, how about C? Anybody notice anything about C? Now, I'm gonna make you guys really unpopular, alright? Because I'm gonna say for the last time, we're not doing this anymore. We'll be quiet and attentive, you're usually so good, I need you to be good. Or we won't review on Tuesday, we'll take our test on Tuesday.
Please no.
Well, it's in your hands, dude. Alright, here we go. Does anybody notice anything about this problem? Now, you gotta kind of take a big picture view here. We could do the PRRs, guess and divide. We absolutely could do that. Be careful, when you divide, you're gonna have some zeros, right? But if you kind of stand back, doesn't that look like this? And what would you do with that? Didn't you do this with that? The only difference is, instead of having x and x, you're gonna have x squared and x squared. And plus 6 minus 1. Now again, this is the best way to do the problem. But if you don't see that, we haven't practiced it much, so I get it. If you don't see it, you will do your guessing and checking, your guessing and dividing. Solving this, it says x squared equals negative 6, or x squared equals 1. So x equals plus or minus 1, square rooting. Or x equals plus or minus I root 6. So if you were guessing and dividing, you would guess 1 and it would work. You would guess negative 1 and it would work. And then you would be left with this, which you would solve exactly the way I did. So there are your 4 answers to the problem. All right, what do you think about D? Do you have any thoughts about D?
Just go.
We can slow it down the middle.
What did you say?
Well, that's too much.
Could be
Moving, but you have to.
Moving?
It's just the first thing that so we can study.
So do y'all see that? This one factors by grouping. So x squared, x plus 2, minus 9, x plus 2. X squared minus 9 factors. So x equals negative 2, negative 3, or 3. When you catch up, tell me if that's okay, or if you have a question about something I did there. You feel okay about that one? Okay, what about this guy? the tricks here, folks. We're gonna have to PRR it and do some division. So the good news is, we only have plus or minus 1 and 2 as options. So, what shall we try?
-1.
-1. Oh my gosh.
Hooray!
Hooray! So I'm solving. One of my answers is -1. Where do I go next?
Next one.
X squared plus 3x plus 2, which I think will factor. So I got -1 again. So I might say multiplicity 2. That means it happens twice. I got it by guessing, and then I also got it by factoring. And then I have -2 as my other answer. So if I were graphing this, I would have a bounce at -1, right? Because that is a square factor. All right, any question about that? All right, one more. And what are we gonna do with this one? Same thing, this one's even easier. Let's do 1. It's either 1 or -1. Okay, so one of my answers is 1. You can't waste time. Now, which one should I pick? Just pick one and do it. All right, what's left?
Square plus 5.
X squared plus 5x plus 1. Now, a minute ago, I did the exact same thing, and I was able to factor. This doesn't factor, so whether Michael likes it or not, we're gonna have to use the quadratic law to solve it. So x equals -3. Plus or minus the square root of squared minus 4ac Is that -5 plus or minus root 21 over 2? And there are your 3 answers. There's 3 of them up there. Does anybody have a question about one of those solved problems? All right, 10 is a sketch. Step 1. What do we do for step 1? Mark the zeros. So we'll mark the zeros at -1 and do the label. These are very important points. So we will label them. They're the only points you have to label. Everybody okay with that? -1, 2, and 5? What's step 2? Figure out how many X's you've got. So I physically only have 3 written down, that's why I have 3 dots. But all together, there's 2 here, 1 here, and 1 here, so there are 4 X's. Does everyone see that? That's important, because 4 is even. Even means I start up, except there's a negative. instead of starting up, I'm going to start down. There are 4 X's in this problem. 4 is even, and this is the way evens are, unless you're negative and then like this. Okay, what happens when I hit -1? -1 came from here. That's gonna bounce off and connect. The 2 came from here. What's that gonna do? Go on through and connect. The 5 came from here. What's it gonna do? Go on through. And there it is. This equation is structured a little bit different, so I'm just gonna tell you, when this is a -16, like all of our others have been, your ordered pairs are seconds, comma, feet. These ordered pairs are gonna be seconds, comma, meters. This is the meter number for the, gravity constant. This is the number when it's in meters. Okay? Let's answer the questions. When will the stone reach its highest elevation? What shape is this equation? A round one. Highest elevation would be the vertex. How do we find the vertex? -b over 2a. 9.8. Got the math over there. Let's see what we get. 10 over 7. That reduces to 10 over 7. Now I'm gonna go ahead and find y. A little shortcut here. What is question A? What's question A ask for? What does it say? Read the whole sentence. When, stop right there, when? Is when gonna be the time coordinate or the meters coordinate? Time. So the answer to question A is 10 seconds. When does it reach its highest point? That number right there. That is seconds. That is T. What will this number tell me? How high it actually is. Now I'm going to go ahead and figure that out. I don't need it. I don't need it for this question at all, but I'm going to go ahead and figure it out because our test question might be, how high does it go? All right, so I'm going to put this in my calculator, which is no big deal. I just put 10 seconds in parentheses every time I see a T. Oh gosh, I got 40. That worked out well. So what is that 40? At its highest point, it's 40 meters above the ground. Okay? All right, question number 2. When will the stone hit the ground? Well, you have to be careful with this one. This one's a little bit different because it has that 30 on there. So that means, here's a building right here, 30 feet tall. This is a picture that was 0. So the ball was starting on the ground and then ending on the floor. See the difference here? This parabola starts here. So it took 10 seconds to get to here. It would take 10 seconds to get to here, but I want to know when it gets to there. So I'm not going to be able to use symmetry. Any idea what we might do? If it's on the ground, how high is it? 0. Plug in 0 right here. 0 equals negative 4.9t squared plus 14t plus 30. Now, if the teacher had planned the problem, we might be able to factor that. I don't think we stand a chance. So, what are we going to do? Okay. You have a calculator, you guys, so just relax. Negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac. All of this. One of those answers is going to turn out negative. I don't want it. Oh my gosh. That does factor. So negative 14 plus or minus 28. 74 is a perfect square. Believe it or not. I know. Me too. So one of my answers is negative 1.429. Don't want that. And the other answer is 4.286. Now, I can read the room. I know a bunch of you have zoned out. You're sitting there staring at me. You gotta be able to do this on your own. As long as you do it on your own, that's all that matters. The answer would be, when is the ball on the ground? 4.286 seconds. I set my equation equal to 0 because the height is 0 when the ball is on the ground. And then I just solved it. I mean, messy looking, but it worked out great. Number 12, I mean, number 12. Definitely a calculator problem. This test will be in 2 pieces. You'll get a white page that you'll do with no calculator, and you'll get a colored page that you'll do with a calculator. Alright, so you do the white page, turn it in, get the colored page, and you read it. This problem, these 2 problems are calculator problems. This one because of the arithmetic, and this one because that's the way we have to do it. So we have a piece of paper that is 10 by 14. We're going to cut out corners, and we want to find the maximum volume. Now, I have kind of programmed you that when you hear the word maximum, you should think about vertex. The problem is, this equation is not going to be quadratic. The volume is length times width times height. Do you remember this from earlier? That is a cubic cubic equation. Please do not do negative b over 2a unless you have a quadratic. This is a cubic. Volume is cubed. So you remember what we do? Type it into our calculator and find the maximum point, the highest point. So y equals, clear out all that junk. 14 And your goal is to see something that looks like this. Yeah, over here. Yep. Because you got the bigger window, and that's fine. This is the point you're looking for, the top of the hill. So as long as you can see the top of the hill, you should be able to find your maximum. Anybody else with this?
I got that.
That is what I
Now we have to answer the question. Find the maximum volume. Some of you put both numbers down in your answer blank, and of course you're gonna get part of that wrong, because the answer is one number. Which one of those represents the volume? So the answer is 120.164 cubic inches. This is your volume. What's the 1.918? That's the size of the corners that we cut out. The publisher of a magazine has a circulation of 80,000 and sells for $1.60 a copy. So right now, if you are that guy, you're selling 80,000 magazines for $1.60 each. So would you agree that that's your income? 80,000 magazines, $1.60 each. Now what are you gonna do? You're gonna raise the price of your magazine. So this right here is gonna go up by how much? 40-cent increments. So 0.40x. It's going up by 40, then by 80, then by $1.20, and so on. Now, what obviously is gonna happen? You raise your price, you're not selling 80,000 anymore. You are going to lose in increments of 10,000. So here is your equation. Start with the baseline, $80,000.60, and then subtract 10,000 increments of 10,000, 10,000x, and add 46. Now, what price maximizes income? Is this, if I multiply this out, will it be x squared, or x cubed, or x what? If I multiply it out. X squared. And if it's x squared, it's a parabola. And if I wanna maximize it, I'm gonna find the vertex. Okay, so what am I gonna do to find the vertex? Foil it. Foil it. So when I foiled it, if I type in the right number of zeros, this is what I am going So, what do? I want to maximize my income, so I'll find my negative B over 2A, which looks like 2. Now again, answer the question. It says, what price per copy? So what was the original price? $1.60. I'm gonna raise it twice, so that means it's going up 80 cents. So the price I'm gonna charge is $1.60 plus 80, which is $2.40. Find the dimensions of the largest picture that can be framed by a ribbon that is 124 centimeters long. So that means my perimeter is 124. Is that how you understand it? All right, help me. Think about this for a second. All the way around is 124. So how much is the squiggle part? If all the way around is 124, 62. So if this is X, this would be 62 minus X. Does that make sense to you? And I want to know the area, largest picture area. So my area is X times 62 minus X. Yeah, it's something in my pocket. I want to figure out what happened to it. But oh well. 62x minus x squared. What shape is that? Parabola, not open it like that. It opens like this. And I want the biggest one, so what do I want? The vertex, the maximum. Watch it. This equation's backwards. So be careful. So negative b over 2a would be 31. So if x is 31, 62 minus x is also 31. So what are the dimensions of the biggest picture? 31 by 31, a square. Well, does it say, it says find the dimensions.
So the answer is
31 by 31. The width is 31 and length is 31. If you multiply them together, you'll get the area. Which could be a question. All right, so I've got these two completely crazy looking equations. One is supply. And one is demand. And I want them to be equal. Okay. Thoughts on that? This is on the color part of your test, so you're sitting over the calculator. Could we type that in and just see where they cross each other? Yeah, I can put that on there. So y equals. Watch it when you type it in. Make sure you have right number of zeros.
What's your breakdown?
I finally got it. I had to go bigger than I thought I was gonna have to go.
Oh, that's-
Try,
It's 600.
try this window. X's are 0 to 500 and Y's are 0 to 2,000. Try that window. And they should cross.
I do this.
And how did I know that? I didn't. I just was patient and played with it for a second. And the intersection is this.
What would you click? Oh, you did your second. Jimmy.
What do you got?
Now remember, when we put in our X was price. So what price do I need to charge? $106.99. That's the price.
I did the first question.
Yep, because that's E, that's X. That's X.
I thought I didn't have to.
The number of sandwiches actually sold will be the demand. And the demand is either this or this, they're the same, it doesn't matter, and that's this number right here. That's your demand. It's also your supply. That is the value where they are equal. So you're gonna sell them for $106.99, and you're gonna sell 1,010 of them. All right,
My dog.
next sheet. Our time is limited, so I'm gonna let you look through the sheet and tell me which ones you want to start with today. So look through the sheet.
The bottom one? That was the whole difference?
Does anybody see a problem that you would like to do in our remaining few minutes? Number 8. 8 is another sketch.
I like this guy, man.
So, first thing I do when I sketch, put on my intercepts. Alright, is everybody good with that? What's the second thing I do? Figure out how many X's I got. What's the degree of my polynomial? Well, it looks like this one is also 4.
Yep.
Which means this. And since that's a positive number, that's what it means. I'm gonna start up. Because it's x to the 4th. And evens start up. Okay? And what does it do when it gets to this point right here? Through it and connects. What's it do when it gets to that one? Goes through it and connects. How about that last one?
Bounce off.
Bounces because that is the factor that is squared. What? Okay, well, I'm gonna let someone else put that one, right?
If no one has a question.
Anybody else have a question, or I'm gonna let Brady pick another one? Find the equation for a quadratic function with a vertex of -2, 1. Let's just stop right here. We know that a quadratic function, that is our BFF, right there. The vertex of our BFF is at the origin. Well, now I've got this new parabola, and the vertex is at -2, 1. Which means what? I have moved my picture 2 units left and 1 up. So what do I do to my equation to move it 2 units left? X plus 2? Doesn't that move you 2 units to the left? And then I need to go up 1. How do I do that?
Plus 1.
Plus 1 on the end. Now, before I go any farther, we have done lots of problems where you had to look at this and say, okay, where's the vertex? -2, +1. That is a good start. The only thing I don't know is, what's this coefficient out in front? Because honestly, I don't know if this thing opens up or down. I don't know how fat or thin it is. How do I figure that out? How do I figure out that coefficient? plug in the other point. So you always start with the vertex. Then we'll plug in our other point. So 6 for y and 4 for x. There's only one y and one x. So I'll plug those in. And then solve it. 4 plus 2 is 6, is 36. Subtract 1. And divide. Don't be alarmed that leading coefficient often comes out to be a good number. It came out to be 536. If I did my arithmetic. Alright, this sheet also has a back, so anything, any other problems that you want to look at. Miles. 11. 11. Volume of gas varies inversely with pressure. Stop right there. That tells me what format I'm using. What format am I using? If volume varies inversely as pressure. It is going like this. It's the one that's a fraction. So volume varies inversely as pressure. Some of you goofballs are putting the K in the bottom. The K is in the top. Volume equals K over E. Alright. Write an equation for this relationship. Right there it is. There's the equation. Then find K. K is the constant of variation. When the volume is 100 and the pressure is 10. So K would be 1,000. Yep, that's all there is to it. All right, got time for another one. What's another one? Seven. Some have already said 7. Now, for number 7, I am not going to divide. You could divide, but there would be a bajillion zeros. So instead of dividing, I am going to treat this thing as a function and plug in 1. That is exactly right. I'm going to put in 1 for all of the x's. And it looks like the remainder is 7. There are 2 ways to find the remainder. One is to physically divide. It is very inconvenient in this problem to divide. So the other way is plug in the number that you were going to divide by. So I was going to divide by 1, now I just plugged in 1. All right, somebody else said 6. Which one is 6 do you want me to do without out of time? B? How do I do B?
You can distribute, you can back it.
Yeah, 7 and 1.
Faster?
No, let's just go through.
Yes.
7 and 1.
Yeah.
So tell me what it'll be. X,
I know that from the signs.
both negative?
No.
Yeah, boy, Jimmy.
No.
That didn't work.
I know.
I did it too.
That would be cool.
In order to get 8, they both have to be positive, but then the 7 would be
If
negative.
you use plug in
Plug that in for
What, black?
say 60 times 7? Who said that?
That's what you do with my old things.
10 dots. 10 dots. That's 28. We're gonna add 28 and 64. And I think we get 92. Then we'll see if 92 breaks down. All right, folks, somebody watching this, this could happen. So we did the quadratic formula, got 92, broke it down, got 223, and then we noticed that all of these are divisible by 2. So the actual answer is -4 plus or minus the square root of 23.
Sounds all right.
Yep. So on Monday, I will turn back all of the quizzes that I still have. When I see you again, turn back all your quizzes. And we'll finish up.
Nice.